Your specific person is you pushed out. So, by understanding and accepting this principle, my friend, then you can consistently learn from the reflection of what your specific person is showing about yourself so that you can fall in love with what you're learning about yourself. And when you fall in love with what you're learning about yourself, then you can make them fall in love with you. Now, I know this can sound like a little like a whole circle, a whole way around it, but if you stay with me until the end of the video, I'll also share with you one question that if you consistently repeat to yourself, you'll be able to, if you consistently ask to yourself, you'll be able to consistently learn, get to know yourself better from the reflections of your specific person. Again, accept yourself, love yourself more, and then it's like you find it natural for them to love you back. That being the case, let's directly begin. So, first of all, my friend, it's really important to understand that there is nothing but you. Now, I repeat that a lot of times, but it's really important to remember it. The one and only reality is your consciousness. The consciousness is the one and only reality. And it's like also something else that is important. Man is incapable of passing from one state of consciousness into another unless he releases from consciousness that which he now entertains, for it anchors him where he is. Now, meaning that if you find your specific person not being attracted to yourself, this is because part of you is still rejecting parts of yourself that you need to accept. And now I'll just share with you a story of my life, of how I applied this a while ago to illustrate my point and then show you exactly how this works. Like why your specific person is you pushed out, how this concept works. So I was in a stage in my life in which I was looking for a like long-term romantic relationship with a partner, but then and like I wanted this relationship to not just be um, me being attracted to only the outer physical looks of my partner, but I also wanted like to have a romantic partner who is like emotionally developed, who is intelligent, because I'm a little sapiosexual, and like I wanted somebody who is like physically good looking and at the same time has really beautiful qualities within himself. But then it was really interesting because even though I desired that for myself, I had this like dream for myself, I was always being attracted to only women who were in a way like looking really beautiful, but they were, not to offend them, but they were a little bit like dumb, or like they were not emotionally intelligent. They were not they weren't like using their intellect a lot. So they were really good looking, but they didn't have the other qualities I wanted. And it was like a really strange paradox. I couldn't understand it at first because I was being really attracted to them, and to the others, like in others I was finding, let's say I was also attracting women that had beautiful inner qualities but weren't as good looking. And so knowing this concept to be true, that other people are us pushed out and our specific person is us pushed out, I realized that it was me, it was like my specific person, the people who I was attracted to, they were reflecting back to me some beliefs I had about myself. And now I'll be a little vulnerable here, but this is what happens, and this is how we learn from relationships. So by questioning within myself, okay, why am I attracted to women who tend to have great looks, but they don't have like really great inner qualities? Or like I also have other women around me that have great inner qualities, but they don't have that good of a looks. And so, what is happening here? Why is this happening like that? And what must I believe about myself in relationship to women to be experiencing this? This is the question I asked myself. And so, by investigating a little deeply, I found within myself that first of all, I was rejecting my sexuality. I was feeling really ashamed of my sexuality. And then it was interesting because I was judgmental about of how women were using their great outer looks, their great outer appearance to just like attract men and use them, and like not really have real genuine feelings for them, but just use them for like, let's say, sexual pleasure. And now because I was seeing that and I was judgmental about that, then I found within myself how I was rejecting my own sexuality. I was feeling ashamed of it. And not only that, but I also realized that I had this belief that I was afraid that my body was weak and I wasn't like, and it wasn't attractive for women. And so by having these beliefs within myself, these fears that I was still harboring, I was only being attracted to women who were really good looking but weren't intelligent because they were reflecting to me back to myself this belief, which eventually, once I started to let go and to integrate within myself, because I understood this concept that others are me pushed out. So, that being the case, if I change, if I shift my beliefs about myself, then other people around me would also shift, or like the women in my life to whom I'm attracted would also shift. And so what happened is that by taking responsibility of that fear, which is like by letting go of it, like feeling where it felt it within my body, which was in my abdomen area, and it was always feeling like I was always feeling pressure there. There was always tension, and I consistently started staying with this tension, and then consistently started letting go of my judgment that women were just using their physical outward looks to manipulate men and like to use them for, let's say, a surface level pleasure, and that's it. And so I was letting go of that judgment by feeling the sensations within my body. And so some time passed. I was also like doing affirmations of how my body was safe, secure, and it was like really attractive and it was strong. I was doing these affirmations, and then some time passed, and what happened was that a couple of months later I started becoming attracted to women who were looking great, but they were also intelligent. And now the whole dynamic shifted. So instead of my specific person looking great and like not being intelligent, which was my vision that I wanted, the dynamic shifted that the specific person who I was attracted to was now at the same time looking great and at the same time being intelligent and emotionally like available. And so all of this happened because I was able to let go of my belief. And because here is what happens, like, since other people are us pushed out, then we tend to judge, we tend to resent or try to change what we have rejected within our own self. As happened with me, I was judgmental about how women were just using their physical appearance, and they were not like they were not having real feelings, real genuine feelings to the men they wanted to have a relationship, while at the same time I was being attracted to those women. And so they were reflecting back to me the belief I had. And it was like a paradox because I was at the same time being attracted to them and I was at the same time being judgmental about how they do that. Because I was judgmental about myself, like about my own physical appearance. I thought that I wasn't attractive. And so by letting go of that belief, the whole dynamic shifted. And now, again, as I told you, the other kind of women started appearing in my life. And so understanding this concept, like seeing how it works, then it becomes your responsibility, my friend, to consistently hold in your mind this question whenever you feel triggered about something that you don't like in your specific person. And the question that you need to ask yourself is, now hear me closely, because it's a really deep question and like you need to ask it a couple of times to get the real answer. The question is, what must I believe about myself in relation to this person, or like to what is happening around me, if it's some circumstance that you're experiencing with your specific person? What must I believe about myself in relation to this person to be feeling like that? This is what the question is. And now the purpose of that question is to help you become aware of the unconscious limiting beliefs that you're still harboring within your own consciousness that make you attracted to the wrong people which are not in alignment with your vision. And so, since like if you have a vision of like attracting this really beautiful and loving relationship with your specific person, but then you find that they're like they don't like you back, well, it's because you're rejecting parts of yourself, and you need to find what are those parts of yourself that you're rejecting that your specific person is not liking about you. They're not liking them about you because you're rejecting them by yourself, so they're just being a reflection of you. Now, and since man is incapable of passing from one state of consciousness into another. Unless he releases from consciousness that which he now entertains, for it anchors him to where he is, unless you let go of that belief that makes you think that your specific person is not attracted to you because they're reflecting parts of you that you have rejected within yourself, unless you become aware of that belief, accept it, and then let it go. Now, the letting it go part, this is the hardest for most people to understand. The letting it go part doesn't mean that you need to change that belief. It means that you first need to accept it as valid. So you need to work through your repressed emotions that are reflecting this belief. And if you need help with that, check out the other video in which I explained how the letting go technique works. Because when you know what is the belief, and because you ask yourself this question, what must I believe is true about myself in relation to my specific person to be feeling like that? And now this question, you ask it to the feeling in your body. The feeling in your body, it will show you the unconscious part of your mind. And when that happens, then it becomes your responsibility to become present with that feeling, to always stay present with it whenever it is triggered. Because if you do that consistently, then you release from consciousness that which you now entertain, which is your limiting belief. And when you release it from consciousness, then your belief system will naturally evolve. And then when you do affirmations, when you do like visualization and all those other things, they will work. They will work effortlessly, because now you have cleared up space from your limiting belief to open up space for your affirmations, for your new self-image that you're developing to work. And then it will, like, then your specific person, or like another person, if it's not your specific person to whom you're attached, then maybe another better version of themselves will come into your life, and then you'll be able to share being in a like long-term romantic relationship together. Does this make sense, my friend? Can you see how and why now? Why your specific person is you pushed out? Because this was my intention in this video, to show you how this concept works so that you can apply it more effortlessly in your life. And that being the case, I also want to invite you to to a training I have where you learn about the 3 phases you go through until you surround yourself by only conscious, uplifting, and meaningful relationships. Because when that happens, my friend, if you have a dream of like being in a long-term romantic relationship with a specific person that you have chosen for yourself, I can tell you how much easier it will be when you're surrounded only by people you love. Because then you'll just be able to choose from all the people around you somebody with whom you would want a long-term relationship. And then you would just see if your visions align, or if your visions for a romantic relationship align with one another. And if they do, then it's like you go ahead and you're in that relationship. So I would like to invite you to check out this training. You can find it in the description below, and it would show you what are the phases again through which you pass until you get into that relationship and until you are surrounded with only people you love. So this was everything I wanted to share in this video. If you found it useful, if you realized something new about yourself, and generally if you found it valuable, like it, comment down below, let me know if you understand this concept now, that your specific person is you pushed out. So whenever you reject him, whenever you feel resentful about him, whenever you want to change him, he's just reflecting back to you what you need to do as inner work within yourself. If you understand this concept now, let me know in the comments. And if you're new to the channel, subscribe to the Soulful Relationships channel, where we'll be talking about everything related to the law of assumption, Neville Goddard, manifestation, like how you can surround yourself by conscious, uplifting, and meaningful relationships. So if you find these topics interesting, subscribe to the channel, and I would love to see you around. Thank you so much for watching, my friend, and I will see you in the next video. Bye bye for now. I love you. See you around.